This is attorney Nicole Christie from the Christie Law Firm, where we work to make families stronger. And so I wanted to talk to you today about, can DCF go to your child's school and interview your child without your permission? And the short answer is yes. However, it's under certain circumstances. If they get a very serious report regarding physical abuse or sexual abuse of a child, or even a child reporting that they're afraid to go home, they have to triage that case, actually have a discussion within their internal system, talking to the managers, and then they make a decision, and they can make a decision to interview the child alone at school without your permission. And so that can be very frustrating and actually daunting to a parent to know that their child was interviewed without their knowledge and permission. But there are very acute circumstances in which they could do that. Now, if the report was just a general report of perhaps child not going to school regularly, or a missed medical appointment, critical medical appointment, but nevertheless, it has come to the department's attention, they then can't just go to the school arbitrarily and interview the child at school. However, as I said before, under very serious circumstances, they can do that. So if you do learn that your child has been interviewed at school alone with DCF without your permission, the very first thing you want to do is, try your best not to question your child and making them somehow feel like they might have done something wrong. It's not their fault at all. They have absolutely no control over it. Literally, they're just called out of their class, brought to a room, and DCF is talking to them. And so they're not able to really understand what is happening. They're just following directions. So do your best to, see what happened, see what kind of impact it actually had on the child, and try to address that versus necessarily what they said. And once that has happened and you've learned that and you've had a conversation with your child, then you follow up with DCF and demand to know exactly what was said and what was noted and how you are able to address that. You're not to be left in the dark as to what your child said, and you're not to be left in the dark as to what DCF's concern is. And we have a whole series around investigations and how to handle that, and even substantiations if a finding has been made against you. But just keep in mind that under acute circumstances, under serious circumstances, DCF can interview a child alone at school, but you do have a recourse. You can at least find out what was told, and you can have a conversation with your child, but just be careful as to how you have that conversation, because one of our beliefs is that kids, if they're in trouble, they should talk to someone about it. And hopefully they can talk to their parents, but if the issue is actually with their parents, it is good that they have someone to talk to, whether it be a school official or DCF worker. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean that you should just have your life open to DCF for any circumstance whatsoever. And there are times when your rights can be violated, or sometimes pushed to a limit. And so you do need advocacy. You might need to push back. And that's one of the things that we like to do for parents is we understand that parenting isn't always easy. Life is going on, and you've got this little person that you have to be responsible for. And so sometimes things happen. But what our job here really at the firm, our main goal is to really support parents, because we want the kids to be okay. Our focus is the kids, and we think that the best people for a kid is their parents, as long as they can keep them home safe and healthy and happy and doing well. It's really good. When a child grows up without one or both of their parents, it's difficult. They're always trying to find themselves. They're always trying to find their center. And so sometimes parents are that center for a kid. So our job is really to help the parents, because we want the kids to be okay. And so we know that some parents need extra help, and so we want to be here to be a support. And sometimes DCF has to get involved, but nevertheless, we want to do everything we can to support the family, so when they're done with us, they're for the better. Their families are stronger. Their families are doing well. So stay tuned for additional videos. Also look for our other videos. We have a lot of information about about DCF, and we're going to also start to do some more information about, collaborative, they call it collaborative, custody agreements where people are working together, really outside of the court, which sometimes doesn't always go well, and it takes a lot of time. It can take a lot of money if you hire an attorney. So our job here is to try to help you get to a point where you're making the best agreements for yourself and your children and not leaving it up to third parties to do so. So take care until the next time.